What would you do if the person you loved most suddenly became perfect? This is what happened to me, and I still don't know what to do about it. At first, I thought it was a phase. My wife had become better. After 7 years of marriage, things had gotten comfortable, maybe a little cold. We weren't unhappy, but the spark? That was long gone. Until one day, it wasn't. She started laughing at my jokes again, really laughing, not that polite smile she'd been giving me for the past year. She cooked my favorite meals without me asking. Pot roast on Wednesdays, blueberry pancakes on Sunday mornings. She touched me more. Her hand on my shoulder when she passed by. Her head on my chest while we watched TV. She looked at me the way she used to, like I was the only person in the room. It felt like the early years of our marriage, easy, attentive, warm. I told myself to be grateful. Maybe she'd been reading those marriage books. Maybe she'd had some kind of breakthrough in therapy. I didn't ask questions. I should have. The first time I noticed something was off, we were having breakfast. She was pouring coffee and casually mentioned that we should visit my parents next weekend. I froze. I said, "My parents?" She looked at me and said, "Yeah, it's been a while, hasn't it?" My parents have been dead for 3 years. She knows this. We went to the funeral together. For a second, she just stared at me, and then her face changed, like she suddenly remembered. "Oh God, I'm so sorry. I don't know why I said that. I wasn't thinking. Work has been so stressful." I nodded and tried to shake the weird feeling in my gut. But then it kept happening. Little things, tiny things. One night we were driving and our wedding song came on the radio. I reached over and squeezed her hand, grinning, and said, "Remember?" She looked at me blankly for just a second too long before saying, "Oh yeah, of course." Her smile was just a fraction too slow. Then there were the towels. She had always folded bath towels into loose rolls. I'd teased her about it for years, said it looked messy. Now, sharp, perfect corners, military precision. And the salt thing. She had always lectured me about salting food before tasting it, saying, "You don't even know if it needs salt yet." But now, every dinner, she salted her plate immediately. One night I was watching her across the table, and the words just slipped out. I said, "Who are you, and what did you do with my wife?" I said it as a joke, smiling. She laughed, but it came half a second too late. And her eyes, just for a flash, looked almost relieved, like she'd been waiting for me to ask. After that night, I couldn't stop seeing it. The way she'd pause before answering anything personal, like she was searching for the right answer. The way she'd watch me sometimes, not with love, but like she was taking notes. In conversations about our past, she always let me speak first, then just agreed with whatever I said. So I started testing her. One night I said, "Hey, remember that crazy weekend we had in Portland?" She lit up immediately and said, "Oh my God, yes, that was amazing." We've never been to Portland. Not once. My stomach dropped. I became obsessed. I started going through her things when she wasn't home. I know how that sounds, but I needed answers. About 3 weeks after all this started, I came home early from work. Her purse was sitting on the kitchen counter, wide open. I'd never gone through her stuff before, never had a reason to. But I walked over and looked inside. Wallet, keys, receipts, lip balm, those little packs of gum she always carries. And then a notebook. Small, black, nothing written on the cover. I pulled it out and opened it. The first page had my name at the top, then bullet points, lists. Scrambled eggs, never fried. Anniversary, June 12th, not July, don't mess this up again. Allergic to shellfish. Cried during Wonderwall at the wedding, bring it up casually. Folds towels with sharp corners now, copy this. Page after page, details about me, about us. Written like study notes, like she was memorizing how to be my wife. My hands started trembling. The notebook almost slipped from my grip. I almost dropped the notebook. There were dozens of entries, observations, notes, instructions. Like she was learning how to be my wife. Then I heard the front door open and her voice calling out, "Honey, I'm home." Her voice sounded so normal, so warm. I stood there in the kitchen, notebook in hand, heart pounding. She walked in, saw me holding it, and her face went white. For a moment, neither of us moved. Then she collapsed. She fell to her knees, sobbing, gasping for air. She kept saying she was sorry. She was so sorry. I just stared at her. She told me she'd been struggling with her memory, that it started a few months ago, little gaps, forgetting conversations we had, and it's been getting worse. She said she was terrified to tell me because what if it was something serious? What if it was early onset dementia? She looked up at me with tears streaming down her face. She said she didn't want me to look at her differently, to treat her like she was broken. So she started writing everything down, trying to remember who she was, who we were. Her voice cracked when she said she was trying so hard to hold on to us, to be the wife I deserved. She begged me not to leave her. Her pain looked real. Her fear sounded real. I felt something inside me crack open. I knelt down and pulled her into my arms and whispered that it was okay. We'd get her help. We'd see a doctor. We'd figure this out together. She buried her face in my chest, still crying. Over her shoulder, my eyes drifted to the kitchen counter. Her purse was still open, and her driver's license was sticking out. I wasn't sure why I looked at it, maybe instinct. The issue date was from last week. My heart stopped. She had carried the same license for years. I'd seen it 100 times. It didn't expire until 2026. Why would she have a new one? Slowly, carefully, I reached for the notebook again. Every entry was dated 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, 5 days ago. Not months. 3 weeks. My blood turned to ice. I flipped to the last page and saw one line written, yesterday. He's starting to notice. Move to phase 2 soon. She was still crying against my chest, but her breathing had changed. Slower, steadier, almost calm. But my eyes were wide open. And I realized, with creeping horror, I had no idea who I was holding. I still don't know what to do. I'm still living with her. She still acts like the perfect wife. And every night, when she falls asleep next to me, I lie awake wondering who she really is and what phase 2 means. If anyone has any advice, I really need it. Because I'm terrified of what happens when phase 2 begins.